All right, buckle up because what you're about to see is a textbook clash between law, procedure, and plain old stubbornness. Auditor Brett Chamberlain is at a Tesco petrol station armed with a £100 Royal Mint coin, trying to do the right thing, pay for fuel. But the staff call the police, and suddenly a routine transaction explodes into a full-blown legal showdown. We're about to witness officers bending the law to their own interpretation, and Brett standing firm against it. Stay tuned because the twists here are going to blow your mind.
Right, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is what's going to happen. Okay, so you've done your bit checking on legislation. I've just checked on my legislation. As I said to you, the shop does not have to accept it just because it is legal tender. You said it's legal tender. You are correct. However, it is a commemorative coin. On the internet, they're worth about 20 quid.
Well,
Right, so here is what is going to happen. Either you are going to pay for your fuel correctly, or you are going to fill out their civil recovery form so that you can arrange to make payment at a later date, or I'm going to arrest you for bilking.
what's bilking?
Bilking, making off without payment. You've got to the point where payment is due. You are now refusing to make payment, therefore I will treat it as a criminal offence. So how would you wish to proceed at this point?
Well, I have got means to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not going to fill out a civil recovery form, as you
Okay,
put it.
right. So what's the means that
What was
you're
the
going
option
to pay?
2?
So option 1
Yeah.
is either you pay.
Notice what's happening here. The sergeant is tossing around terms like making off without payment as if it's a gotcha moment. But here's the kicker. Under the Theft Act 1978, to commit that offense, you must actually leave intending to avoid payment. Brett hasn't moved. He's offering payment, and yet the officer is already gearing up for an arrest. This is a classic example of misunderstanding the law and letting assumptions dictate actions. What would you do if the police tried to criminalize you for following the rules?
Option 2 is you fill out the form. Option 3 is that you get arrested.
Well, I'll pay.
No, you pay with legal tender that they will accept.
That is legal tender.
No, they don't have. They
So if this is a £50 note and he said, oh, look, we don't accept £50 notes because there's lots of forgeries,
Exactly.
would you be doing exactly the same thing now?
Yes. So
That
if you
thing-
go into a corner shop and try and pay for a penny chew with a £50 note, they are perfectly within their rights to refuse that sale.
Yeah, of course they are, but this is different
No,
because...
it's not different.
No,
you,
it is.
you have offered a form of payment that they will not accept. The principle is exactly the same.
Well, if you arrest me, it'll be a wrongful arrest.
Yeah. It's not. It's a lawful arrest because I've explained the situation and I've explained that I believe you're doing this for
Are you a
dishonest
sergeant
reason.
or an officer?
I am a sergeant.
Right.
Okay.
I reckon...
So my point is also that coin is not worth the face value of it. It's not legal tender in such a way that this shop has to accept it as being valued at £100.
Okay, so
So
it
either
has...
way, you're
Hang on,
way
it has...
short of the mark.
No, I'm not. So it is got a face value of £100, so it is worth £100.
It's not.
Well, you say that, but the Bank of England, the House of Commons, the state, all the institutions that came before you
Yeah.
say it is, right? But you say it isn't, right? Now you say it's only worth whatever you say
It's
it
a
was.
commemorative
Interestingly,
coin.
I don't know if you've looked at the price of silver, but that's probably worth about £48 in silver.
It's
Hang
a
on, I haven't
commemorative
finished
coin.
yet. So that's £48 in silver.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, how much is a £20 note or a £50 note worth in plastic? What, a penny or two? Right, so this has got a face value of £100. It's got the legislation that makes it worth £100.
Boom! Here it comes. The £100 Royal Mint coin hits the scene. Legally, it's valid tender. But watch the sergeant stumble, claiming it depends on what the cashier will accept. Let's break that down. Once fuel is dispensed, a debt exists. Offering legal tender discharges that debt. The cashier's personal preference? Irrelevant. This is where policing meets drama, ignorance masquerading as authority, and Brett's calmly schooling the officer is gold.
Yeah.
Right, they've offered that I can take services and then pay for it afterwards, which is called invitation to treat. Yeah, I'm offering to pay with a coin of the realm.
No, you're offering to pay with a coin that they're not willing to accept. Therefore, the onus is on you to make alternative payments, arrangements to make payments.
I don't think so. I think that's incorrect.
Okay, that's fine.
But I reckon before you arrest me and waste my time, You ought to check to make sure it's not an unlawful
Can I have
arrest.
another unit, please. This chap's about to be arrested.
But it'd be unlawful arrest.
It's not a wrongful arrest.
It would be a wrongful arrest. Well, how can you arrest somebody for refusing to pay when they're offering to pay with a coin of the realm?
Because you're not offering to pay with payment that they can accept, or will accept, or have to accept. No.
Now, interestingly, you said that you've done some research on this, and I've done this before.
Yeah.
Well, what was the outcome of it last time?
It was no further action.
Why was that then?
I don't know.
Well, how come you've
But
got a
that
record
doesn't
of
mean
that?
I'm about
and-
to let you drive off from here.
Well, how come you got a record that I did it last time, but you haven't got a record of the outcome?
Why? Because I haven't got time to look at that right now.
But you have got time to arrest me and deal with all the paperwork that'll
Yep.
be involved in that.
Yep.
So that's just...
Pay close attention here. The sergeant denies the face value of the coin, calling it just commemorative. Meanwhile, the auditor drops a truth bomb. It's backed by the Royal Mint and the Treasury. This isn't a debate about silver content, it's about legal tender status. By refusing to recognize it, the sergeant completely undermines his own authority. This is textbook power without knowledge, folks, and it's exactly why auditors like Brett exist, to hold officers accountable when the law is misapplied.
abusing your power, I think, because what you're trying to do
It's
is
using
you're...
my power proportionally. These people here are trying to run a business, and you are making life extremely difficult
No,
by
I'm
being
not.
obstructive in how you're going to pay.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm not fearful of arrest at all.
Okay, that's fine. So what has now become, what was going to be a perfectly routine trip to a petrol station is now going to take you hours.
So you can't make up rules as you go along.
I am not making up the rules. You're the one that's trying to make up the rules.
I'm not.
I've explained to you that this business does not have to accept what you are offering as legal tender. Just because it's legal tender, they do not have to accept it. You've agreed to my analogy of the penny tube £50 note, and this is exactly the same.
No, it's not. There's a
It
difference,
is.
right?
You are
I'll tell
offering
you
a
where.
legal tender that they are not willing to accept.
No, I'll tell you where the difference is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now if I'd eaten the penny chew, right, I'd have to pay for it, wouldn't I?
You've just taken the fuel. You
Yeah,
can't
in the
give it
same
back
way
now,
as the.
can you?
Well, you can't
So
give back
you
the
have
penny
to pay
chew
for
that
it.
you've eaten either, can you?
No.
Right, so let's keep that analogy working then.
Okay.
Right now, then, if I offered the £50 note,
Yeah.
right,
They
would it
still don't have to take it.
would it be theft if I don't come up with another way?
Yeah.
I don't think so,
Okay. Well,
because
that's-
I'm offering a coin.
I'll tell you what, I'm only here to enforce the law, I'm not here to decide. I just suspect that an offence has taken place, okay? So I'm not convicting you, and you're refusing, to cooperate with me any further. You're refusing to resolve this situation by giving these people your details, so therefore you
No, I don't,
give me
because
no
what you're
option but
trying to
arrest
encourage
you.
me to do is not to give them my details,
Yeah.
but to fill out a legally binding form. You're actually encouraging me to fill out a legally binding
Absolutely.
form,
Yeah.
right? That would be detrimental to me.
Why? Because you have to pay for your fuel just like everybody else
No.
at this petrol station.
No, because you're forcing me not to use cash. It's exactly the same as
No,
you.
I'm forcing you to provide the legal tender that this business is willing to accept.
But it's not for them to pick and choose. Which,
It is,
which
absolutely.
No, it's
if,
not.
If they will only accept payment in Pokemon cards, that is entirely up to them.
yeah, but they need to state that on the pump, right?
Yeah.
When I take the fuel, they need
You
to
and
say
I
payment
both know you
only
are
in
trying to pull
Pokemon.
a fast one,
I'm
don't
not trying to. What
Yes,
do you
you
think?
are.
What do you think I'm
So-
trying to achieve then out of this?
So
Then?
why are you not willing to offer any other sort of payment? Do you have bank cards on you?
Maybe it's a matter of principle. This is a coin of the realm,
Yeah.
yeah, and they're the country's
Yeah, but
biggest
you're
retailer.
trying law that has been tested previously, and the case law is there for it. You've seen,
What's the outcome of
you've
the
seen
case
the
law then?
incidents before where people have gone and tried to pay their council tax in penny coins,
It's different.
and they've refused that. It's not different.
No, it's
at all.
because-
because people have still gone to pay their council tax in 1p coins. The council has refused that,
Yeah.
and it's been held that they can refuse that payment in penny coins. It's
Yeah, do you know
exactly
why?
The same scenario.
Yeah, because
sir.
remember we said at the beginning, right, that 1p's up to 20p, 2p's up to
Now, I'm
20p.
not arguing about whether it's legal tender or not. I completely agree with you.
Here's the tension peak. The sergeant demands identification, tries to spin refusal as dishonesty. Brett's standing on principle, he's offering lawful payment. The officer is now backing a preference, not the law. This is where principle meets procedure. Should the law be about following personal whims or established statutes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Would you have stayed firm or caved under pressure?
It is legal tender, so you can stop reiterating that.
No. That's why they refuse to accept the pennies for the council tax. It's because it's only legal tender up to 20 pence. But if you have to pay your council tax in pound coins,
is they're not willing to.
but you shouldn't be threatening to arrest me because of their preference as to what type of note or coin they accept. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Because that's not your job, is it, to state what type of coin that Tesco accepts or not?
Surely, it's my job to make sure that you don't go past the point of payment without making payment.
I haven't driven off, have I? I've got every intention of paying with this coin.
No.
If I had no intention, if I was trying to do something dishonest, I'd driven off, wouldn't I? But the fact is, I've waited here for you to come and I've discussed it with you. I've tried to explain, being very civil, and be rude, have I? In any way. I've got no disrespect for the police whatsoever.
No.
Might go downhill a bit if you arrest me unlawfully.
Okay.
I just think, please, just check that it's a lawful arrest. I don't think it is.
I believe it is.
I don't think it is. And I've got an ace up my sleeve as well, which I'll pull out when the time
What's
comes.
the ace up your sleeve?
No, I'm not pulling that out. I don't see why I should have to spoon feed Tesco the specific legislation as to what's lawful and what's not, and neither should I have to spoon feed the police as to what's lawful and not. It's for you to police the laws that you know are factual, not to go kind of picking laws willy-nilly and then trying to arrest people basically under threat, because that's what you're really trying to do, trying to make me fearful of
the
you.
shop is not legally obliged to accept your coin.
They are.
So the onus is on you.
They are.
No, they're not. I don't know where you've read your law from, but you are wrong, my friend.
They are, because listen, the whole point of cash and legal tender is that you cannot be successfully prosecuted for non-payment if you've offered legal tender. So if I had Scottish notes, right, now they're not legal tender in the UK, they're not legal tender full stop, but Tesco's actually accept those, right?
Well, as I said, it's up to them as a business. If they will say we will only accept Panini football stickers for payment for fuel, they can. That's how, when they give you club card vouchers and stuff, that's how.
You don't collect these stickers, do you?
No, I don't. But you see how
I know what you're saying,
so
sir.
if this gentleman says, right, you can pay for your fuel with 10,000 club card points or whatever it is, they can do that. Just as they can say, although that coin is legal tender, we will not accept payment, and the onus is on you to make alternative means.
I don't disagree with you completely, right?
Okay.
Because you're completely right if we was in the store.
The fact that we're here is
No, it's different, because the difference is that there was an invitation to take the fuel, and I've taken the fuel, and now I've got a debt, and I'm offering to pay the debt in legal tender. Now in the store, it's different because I haven't taken the food, have I? In fact, if I'd have eaten the food, I'd be obligated to pay for it, and then it'd be the same scenario, just the same as if you went into a restaurant and had a meal, and then you have to pay afterwards, and you offered to pay in that. Right, they can't lawfully have you prosecuted for failure to pay if you've offered a reasonable means of payment and they've refused to accept it.
Yeah, but you've refused to identify yourself to this person.
But I don't need to, do I?
Yeah, because you need to arrange to settle the payment.
No, because it's just filling out that form, isn't it? Which is a no means to pay form. Yeah, I'm not prepared to do that. It's private.
Okay,
because
so
I could give you my name and address, but
with my police officer's head on, I'm now starting to view your actions as being dishonest.
How have I been dishonest?
I suspect an offence is going to occur.
How have I been dishonest?
Because you're refusing to give your information to this gentleman, so that.
But he's not entitled to my information, is he?
He is.
Okay, if I told you
no,
what my...
because you have a debt to settle up with him.
So
to go to the restaurant scenario, if you ate your meal and then said, I've forgotten my wallet, I've got no means of paying.
Oh, no means of paying.
Yeah, okay. So at that point you're not being dishonest. At the point that you refuse to identify yourself, or you put Mickey Mouse care of Disney World on a piece of paper and say, here's my details, you're then becoming dishonest.
What about if, we went to the restaurant, we had a meal, right, and then I pulled out a £50 note and they said, look, we don't accept £50 notes. Then
Then we get back to exactly the same scenario.
But it's not that they can't make a decision about refusing to accept the £50 notes when you owe them money. They can only refuse to go through with the transaction in the first place. It's only because you've had the goods and you owe a debt that they can't refuse to accept.
Now, let's pause and appreciate this analogy. Imagine ordering a meal and then trying to pay with a £50 note they suddenly refuse. Once the service is rendered, refusing legal tender is illegal. That's exactly what happened to Tesco. The fuel was pumped, the debt existed. Brett offered valid payment. The sergeant's insistence on a preferred method? Purely ego-driven obstruction. This analogy is a masterclass in simplifying complex legal principles for viewers.
Accept the money.
I think we're going round in circles now.
Well, I think we've covered everything pretty well.
Right, okay.
I think we've...
So what's this ace you've got up your sleeve then?
Well, I'm not telling you until you wrongfully arrest me.
Right, okay. Fine. I'm intrigued, I have to say.
Well, don't you think it's...
I have to admit, I can't understand why you have come here, to make this issue. Because you have known full well when you've driven onto this forecourt what's going to happen here, haven't you?
No, I don't actually,
Well,
because I'll tell you that answer once I've played my ace up my sleeve, as I said. I haven't got any sleeves, but... What'd you say? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You know, as a motorist, that I'm obliged to provide you with my name and address?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I have to if I'm on private property? Is that legislation only apply if you're actually on the road?
This is public.
No, it's private, isn't it? It's
So
Tesco.
it's open to the public.
But-
During their hours of trading,
Yeah.
for legal purposes, we would see this as public.
Okay. Are you sure about that one as well?
Sorry?
Are you sure about that one?
Yep.
So, because I must admit, I don't know that. I am genuinely intrigued.
Yeah.
So, if I was
As
on
far
my
as I'm concerned,
drive
you
and
and
you
your
take...
car
Yeah.
are in public. So if you thought about all sorts of legislation,
Yeah.
so if you you're in a public place.
So, if I was in a private road,
Now,
on a
if
private
this was
road...
closed,
Yeah.
so if there were barriers up there and they weren't doing any business right now, we would probably consider that as private. But at the moment, it's open to the public by the fact that you can drive on here. And
Yeah, but you know, like, you're responsible for policing the highways, aren't you?
Yep.
Right, so if I was on a private road and I was driving, say I didn't have insurance or anything like that, I was on a
Yeah.
private road though, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be committing any offence, would I? No.
So if you're driving around your friend's field,
That's it, yeah.
then there's no issue.
Right, now say you came along and said, and I was walking and you say, oh, what's your name and address? I said, well, I don't have to give you my name and address
Yeah,
because I'm walking.
yeah.
Right, that I'd be right, wouldn't I? Yeah, but if I was driving, then I do, because there's legislation saying that you have to be able to see who I am, see that I'm lawfully allowed to drive, yeah?
Yep.
But if I'm on my private estate,
Yeah,
How
none
does
of
that-
our business.
so I think that I wouldn't have to provide my details to you either. And if I did provide my details to you,
Yeah.
I think I'm right in saying this too, that you wouldn't be allowed to provide them with my details. That'd be a breach of my data, wouldn't it?
Well, that's why I haven't provided them so far.
No, I haven't given them either, have I? No, I'm just sort of like interested, I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Yeah. No, it's up to you to give him your details.
Heads up, here's a critical legal takeaway. The sergeant quotes the Bank of England to sound clever, saying retailers can choose payment methods. True, but only before the sale. Once goods or services are provided, legal tender settles the debt. Brett nails this distinction. The fuel was already in the tank, so his £100 coin is completely lawful. This is the moment where common sense and statute collide, and the sergeant loses spectacularly.
Which would actually sort the whole thing out.
Well, no, because it's filling out a no means to pay form when I have got the means to pay. So let's just discuss this again briefly if you want to. Right, so these coins are made by the Royal Mint.
Yep, and they are legal tender.
And they are
No
legal
argument
tender.
there.
Yeah. So how can I be refusing to pay and being dishonest in any way when I'm offering to pay with a coin of the realm, a legal
Because
tender
you've
coin?
offered a form of payment that they are unable or unwilling to accept. Therefore, as I said, the onus is on you to find alternative means. You've failed to do that,
Okay.
and you are now proposing to leave here without actually giving any means of identification so they can arrange at a later date to make payment with you.
Okay.
So therefore, because of that, I suspect that you are about to commit an offence of making off without payment.
See, now I reckon that if you've offered to pay, and I've offered to pay lots of times, got it on video, and right, and they refuse to accept the payment, I can't see how that I've committed a crime, even if I don't
Because
pay.
to provide an alternative means of payment or come to an alternative agreement.
Here's an interesting one, officer.
Yeah.
Shall I know your name? Or should we just
Ben.
keep Ben? I'm Brett. Yeah. What about if it's a matter of opinion? So say, for argument's sake, this chap Darren, right? He says, no, I'm not accepting that, right? But another manager, he said, oh yeah, that's okay, we'll accept that.
Yeah.
So how can you be arresting me for dishonesty based on the opinion of whichever person in
Because he's
Tesco?
in charge of the premises at the moment.
Right. So if it was someone else and he was happy to take it, so what you're suggesting is that you're going to arrest me based on the opinion of a Tesco staff member,
No,
whereas another member of
arresting
staff
you
might
based
have.
on my suspicion.
Suspicion.
I'm sure with the amount of time this gentleman has spent here, and the fact that other colleagues are aware of the fact that we have been here for half an hour.
Nah, 16 minutes.
I'm sure if he were able to take that coin, he would have done it by now, because he's got plenty of other things to do. You are costing them money by the fact that your car's sat here taking out these 2 lanes.
Well, I've offered
You
to
know,
move it, but
if-
he said no.
If they could,
I offered to move it, but he
okay,
said no.
But if they were willing to take this at any point, they would have done that.
Now, don't you think, Ben, right, that the country's biggest retailer
Yeah.
would have a simple, basic understanding of coins of the realm and the legal tender situation and what they can do and what they can't do?
Well, they clearly do by the fact that they are not obliged to take it just because it's legal tender.
Because he said so. But how do you know he's right? And how do you know that what he's saying is the opinion of Tesco's as a company as a whole?
Right, it's not that he's right, it's that the Bank of England is right, and it's the Bank of England that states that the shopkeepers are not legally obliged to accept any royal tender.
Right, okay, I understand where you're coming from with that, but that's referring to buying something from a store, not for paying a debt.
Okay, it's still the same,
No, it's not.
same situation.
No,
Okay,
it's not.
that's fine.
It's actually on the Bank of England website what legal tender is.
Yeah, it is. As I said, I have no argument with you about that at all.
Were you waiting for another unit then, are you?
Okay, so I'm arresting you on suspicion of making off without...
And here's the takeaway. The police overstepped, the law held firm, and Brett walked away vindicated with a £5,000 payout. This case is a stark reminder. Respect the law you enforce or face consequences. Officers, take notes. Authority without understanding is dangerous. And to our viewers, if this breakdown hooked you like it did me, smash that like button, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more intense body cam breakdowns. Brett's channel is linked too. Show him some love.
Payment, you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something on which you later will rely on in court. Anything you do say may be within in evidence. Do you understand?
Yep.
Okay, so my intention at this time is to take you to Exeter Police Station, where you will be put into custody. The reason for that is for the prompt and effective investigation of the offence and to confirm your identity and your name and address.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, well,